Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Elizabeth, the Education Coordinator for Marlene's Market and Deli. Tonight's special guest that we have with us is Lisha Song. She is an intuitive trauma therapist and owner of Sacred Healing Place, speaking on the topic of Holiday Survival 101. Thank you so much, Lisha, for being here.
Thank you, Elizabeth and Marlene's Market and Deli, for letting me be here, for having me. So I think tonight's class will be, it won't be super long, but I think it'll be fun. Well, it'll be fun for me to talk about it, and hopefully it'll give everyone who's listening, who's watching, some really concrete and practical tools to maybe not just survive the holidays, but maybe even enjoy the holidays, or at least portions of the holiday season. So that's my hope. All right, so we'll get started. So you've seen my face. I am Lisha Song, and now I'm going to switch over to slides, to my slides. So I'm going to do a screen share here. And let's see here. Okay. Great, great. Now I got to find the other screen here. There we go. All right. So, who am I? I am an intuitive trauma therapist here in Tacoma. Have a private practice in the north end of Tacoma. And I'm a newly published author of the book called Love What Hurts, a guide for healing emotional wounds and following your intuition. And that's available through my website or through your favorite online book retailer. All right, so Holiday Survival 101. This is just going to be a few steps that I think could really help you get through the holidays, and get through the holidays with a sense of empowerment even, and joy, hopefully. So, because that's what the holidays are supposed to be about. They're supposed to be a time to celebrate whatever your beliefs are or around the holidays, but it's a time to gather and celebrate and be grateful for one another. Seems like that should be the foundation of any holiday celebration. But sometimes with toxic, dysfunctional family dynamics, the holiday season can be really rough, really stressful, and very obligatory. And I know that in my practice, and I've talked to my colleagues, that the holiday season gets really busy with clients. And that's because they start to feel that angst about having to see family members, or other people that maybe aren't family members but that they have to see for whatever reason. So it brings up a lot of angst for people, and so I just thought I wanted to create this short little course on how to be present for yourself and how to cope better through the holidays. All right, so our first slide and the first step: visualize and imagine. Okay, so before you arrive, days before, maybe even a couple weeks before, you arrive at your holiday destination. Or if you're hosting a holiday celebration, do this before you start to welcome guests or family members into your home. Take the time to visualize and imagine how you want to behave during the holiday celebration. Specifically, how you want to behave around people you know trigger you. And ask yourself how, when you're, so we don't even really understand how powerful, we're not utilizing the power of visualization and imagination. Top athletes, top performers, they hire mental coaches. And the reason why they hire mental coaches is not to, unpack trauma or to process, anything that happened at work necessarily, but it's to imagine and visualize how they want to perform, how they want to act or behave, and visualizing it in a positive way. And doing that, sometimes negative emotions do come up, but you can still be kind to yourself and nurture yourself as negative emotions start to arise during the visualization. Like if you just start to get angry as you visualize the person that you're going to encounter is going to start another argument about this and that, right? Or is going to try and tell you what to do or shame you for something that you did in the past. And you might feel that anger or even that angst rise up in your body as you're visualizing. It's okay to breathe through that, take a breath, take a break from the visualization, and attend to that angry or anxious part of you as if you are a parent to that part of you. And we'll talk more about that. And even at the end of this, we're going to go through a visualization. So the power of imagining and visualization is really profound. And if you practice this before you head out to your holiday destination or before you open your home up, I guarantee you it will help you feel a lot more grounded. It may not change how the triggering people will behave or act in front of you, but you will feel a little more distance. You won't take it so personally. So we're going to practice visualization at the end of all this, but you can't practice it too much, and you don't want to try and do it on the spot or try to get grounded on the spot when you're already jarred up. So this is really a great first step to preparing you for the holidays. So visualize and imagine. The next step, and this doesn't have to be in any particular order, although visualizing and imagining should be the first thing you do, because you're going to do that before the day of your celebration, before you leave to get out of town. If you have to fly, I encourage you to do it on the airplane, or if someone's driving you, do it in the car. But definitely that would be the first thing I would do. Visualize how you want to behave, how you want to react to that uncle that keeps bringing up, past embarrassing moments. How do you want to react? Okay, slide number 2. Set a time limit, whether you're a host or a guest. Set a time limit on how long you want to stay for the holiday celebration and make it clear ahead of time that you'll be leaving at a set time. And this won't be received well by others, probably. And all of these steps probably won't really be received, all that well by the triggering, toxic, dysfunctional people that you'll be celebrating holidays with. It's not about them. It's not about getting them to see you. It's not about getting them to understand where you're coming from. If they don't see you by now, if they don't know you, if they've never been interested in really seeing and getting to know who you are, it's not going to happen during the holidays for sure. And, realistically, it probably won't happen ever. So I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer or, to sound negative. That's just been what I've seen over the years as a therapist. So make it clear ahead of time. They might not be happy about it. What do you mean you're going to leave at, 5 o'clock or whatever? But that will feel uncomfortable for you to set that boundary, and they may not like it and they may push back against it, but you stay grounded and stick to that boundary, because this isn't just a holiday survival kit. This is really a kit or a presentation for self-care as much as it is coping. So this is your way of caring for yourself. And that part of you, maybe a younger part of you, that already is dreading the holidays and feeling anxious about it, if you set a time limit, that part of you will calm down, will feel calmer and quieter, which is great. So if you're the host, what I've seen people do in the past, and I think this is a great idea, is you create an open house style for your celebration. And you have a time limit around that. So like 3 to 7 p.m., right? That's your open house. And the idea of the open house is that your guests can come and go as they please within that time frame. And what's great about that, that kind of structure, is other people, your guests, your other family members, they might have other holiday obligations or parties or things to, attend. So you having this sort of boundaried window of time allows them more flexibility as well. So they know that if they come at 4:30 and they only have half an hour, that there are no hard feelings about that. At least you got to see them and spend a half an hour with them. They no hard feelings, and then they can move on with the rest of their day or night. Now, some people might want to stay longer, right? The people who don't really respect those kind of boundaries. And that's when it might get tough. And then, you start putting things away, start turning lights off. And if they still don't get the message, you have to use your words and say, I am beat. And, I said that this was only going to go until 7 p.m. and I'm really tired from preparing for this. And, I need you to go. Thank you for coming, but it's time for me to have my time for me to get ready for bed. Whatever you have, whatever reason you need to put out there is fine. But this open house style is just a nice way for everyone to be a little bit flexible, but you still have a boundaried and clear window of time. And if the idea of someone pushing against your boundaries and then having that conflict between you and another person, if that is really too upsetting for you, then I encourage you to visualize and imagine how you want to play that out. So basically practice your boundaries within your imagination. And that too will make it easier to stay firm with your boundaries of time and not allow them to bully you into spending more time together. Let me see my notes here. Oh, and another, and if you are hosting, or even if you're a guest, or you're going somewhere for the holidays, and that once people start drinking alcohol, because alcohol is usually part of a holiday celebration, right? And if from history that people get ornery after several drinks, then that's another clue for you to either leave or to set your open house time limit to end earlier in the evening. Because we know that as the evening goes on, especially after 10 o'clock, after 11 o'clock, definitely after midnight, and alcohol is involved, and you have a mixture of toxic, dysfunctional dynamics going on, that is a dangerous recipe there, right? So if you know that ahead of time, then adjust how you're going to spend that time accordingly and when you're going to leave. Okay. All right, next slide. Bring support. Maybe you don't have to do this alone. Invite a trusted, nurturing friend or companion to go with you to your holiday destination, or to be with you if you're hosting. A lot of times, family members behave better when there are outsiders present. When we get triggered by family, we can easily get back into that childlike or adolescent-like state. It's so easy to do. It's happened to me a number of times, and not even around the holidays. So when you bring someone who's got your back, right? A friend, a companion, it's that concrete physical reminder that you're not that child, you're not that teenager anymore, that you are a full-grown adult. And that reminder and having that person there, maybe, every once in a while squeezing your hand, or they, come up behind you to rub your back, is sort of that instant reminder that you are an adult and you are present and grounded. So bring someone. Your friend's presence can remind you that you're no longer that child or teenager. And then they can help you be in the here and now so that you don't react from that childish or teenage-ish place. Stay elsewhere. What? That's so insulting. That's what a lot of dysfunctional families say. But the thing is, why do you need to spend the night at your holiday destination? Now, of course, if finances are an issue, then maybe that's where you ask a friend to come with you and the two of you can split like a hotel room or an Airbnb together or something like that. Or if you have time to save up a little extra money to get yourself a hotel room, that would be great. But, lodge somewhere other than the family home so that you can have some downtime to yourself to recalibrate and rest. And like I said, this can be, a hotel, Airbnb, or even another person's home. Like if you're going to, the city that you grew up in, and you have friends in that town still, family friends or your own friends that you grew up with, stay with one of them, right? You don't have to stay in your family home. You don't have to stay in that destination home to celebrate with folks. And yes, with all of these little boundaries, someone will push back. You need to expect that right away. And that's why the visualizing and imagination work and practice will help you. That's why that practice is the first step, because that will set a foundation for how you go into the holidays with your boundaries intact. All right. Take breaks. During the celebration, give yourself permission to go for a walk at some point. And if that walk can be in the woods or around a body of water, even better, because being in nature is grounding. But if you're in an urban area and you're not really near, anything natural, I'd still recommend that you go for a walk, because just walking right? Just gives you that time to decompress a little bit. It just gives you a little mini break. And again, you might get some pushback. Where are you going? And you got to go back to visualizing. What if I get pushback on this? How do I want to react? And stay firm with my boundary. And your walk doesn't have to be like hours long. You might want to be gone for hours, but maybe it's just a 20-minute walk, just enough to get out into the cool air and get grounded again and just take a break from everything. All right, next slide. Get grounded, whether you're using essential oils, excusing yourself to the restroom to do some breathing exercises. And we're going to practice some breathing exercises at the end of this as well. Or while you're in the bathroom, splashing your face with cold water. That will get you grounded and, bring you back to your adult self pretty quickly. So anything that you need to do to just not just get grounded, but call yourself out of your emotions and back into present time, into the current reality, and back into your highest adult self. And while you're stepped away, if you're in the bathroom or what have you, just take a moment to reassure that part of you, that younger part of you that's frustrated, upset, sad, anxious. Just reassure that part of you that you're going to take as many breaks as you need and you're going to be leaving soon. So that part of you knows you don't have to endure this the entire day or the entire night or however long you plan on being there. Okay, so get grounded. All right. My final slide, skip it. If you're truly dreading it to the point of intense anxiety or insomnia, then give yourself permission to not attend or host this year. A lot of my clients during the pandemic's lockdown, a lot of them felt relief and relieved that they didn't have to go visit their families. So we're not in lockdown, thank goodness, but go ahead and practice that, skip it. We don't need to wait for a pandemic to skip a celebration that isn't even going to feel celebratory. And, by the way, healthy families are not obsessively attached to the holidays. Healthy families understand that you have busy lives, especially if you have partners or children or all of that. They understand. And so if they don't get to see you until January 10th, they are grateful to be able to see you on January 10th, and they'll still celebrate with you. For Thanksgiving, if they don't get to see you until, December 1st for Thanksgiving, or you want to celebrate on November 1st for Thanksgiving, healthy families will make that work. So those are my 2 cents on surviving the holidays. So what I want to do now is let's do some visualization, and let's also do a breathing exercise. The breathing exercise is super easy. And I encourage you to start with closing your eyes and finding a comfortable way to sit. And I encourage you to sit because if you lie down, there's a high chance that you might fall asleep. So you want to sit upright and kind of be alert. But go ahead and close your eyes, and let's start off with 5 intentional breaths. And the most important part of the breath is the exhale when you're trying to get calm and grounded. And when we slow down each exhale down to 6 seconds, that engages the parasympathetic nervous system, which is that calming and grounding side of the nervous system. So let's go ahead and start with our 5 intentional breaths. I'm going to breathe with you. Keeping your eyes closed, I want you to get a visual of yourself. And I want you to imagine the holiday celebration coming up that has you feeling anxious, nervous, frustrated. And notice where you feel those feelings in your body. Notice what sensations come up. Maybe there's a tightening in your chest. Maybe your heart rate is a little faster. Maybe your stomach feels off, like queasy or intense butterflies. Or maybe your shoulders feel weighed down. Just notice those sensations and just intentionally breathe through them. Breathe into them as if you're offering those sensations a breath of fresh air. And you're doing this as you're acknowledging. So what this does is it brings you right back into the present moment when you can acknowledge your emotions and the sensations that you feel from those emotions. And now I want you to visualize yourself. You're the highest, most adult, most evolved version of yourself. And maybe you've had glimpses of this version of you when you've been with a friend or you did well in a business meeting or a job interview. Find that version of you where you had a little confidence, where you felt grounded, you felt embodied. And imagine that's the version that is going to the holiday destination. Or that's the version of you that's hosting a holiday celebration. And imagine how you want to be. Maybe you want to be present for your guests or for others at the party if you're a guest. Maybe you actually want to be present and listen to people. Maybe you want to have some laughs. And so you lighten the conversation or you share some funny memes or jokes. Or maybe you just want to feel calm. You don't want to overreact to anybody who triggers you. So just take a moment right now, a few moments, and imagine yourself doing that. Imagine yourself behaving how you want to behave, responding how you want to respond. And in this imaginary scenario, you might also be imagining pushback from certain people or mocking or maybe a rolling of the eyes. And imagine responding in your most adult way, not reacting. And your response could just be to ignore their reaction. And that's okay. Self-care isn't always about fighting back. In certain situations, yes, we do need to fight back. But for most, we don't. And for some, ignoring and walking away, changing the subject, can be the best form of self-care. So as you're imagining your highest, most adult, confident self going through the holidays, everything from prepping your house, your home, if you're hosting, going about it mindfully instead of erratically, also helps set your own mood. Imagining that if you have a far distance to travel to your holiday destination, that you can use that time from here to there to get yourself grounded and practice visualizing how you want to be. So continue visualizing your boundaries, your time limit, your telling people you're going to stay elsewhere. And now notice how your body is feeling. And just notice if the sensations you had before are still with you, if you're still feeling them in the same way, or if they feel a little lighter, a little calmer. There still may be some feelings there, but we want to get them to a much more manageable level if we can't neutralize them altogether. So you're just noticing how your body is experiencing this visualization. And offer that younger part of you, whether they're a child part or an adolescent part or a 22-year-old part of you, offer that part of you your compassion and your regard. You're going to look after them during the holidays. And that means establishing boundaries. And you might want to warn that younger part of you, we're going to get pushback for this, but I've got you. This is how I'm going to take care of you. And whenever you're ready, take a nice deep breath in. Slowly open your eyes and come back. Are there any questions or concerns about this exercise or about anything that I said tonight?
Let me take a look at the Facebook live stream, see if any of our Facebook live stream viewers have any questions. But that was so beautiful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Questions there.
No questions?
And no questions on Facebook Live. But if there's any questions here in the Zoom meeting, feel free to enter in the chat box or unmute yourself. With the stresses of the holidays, I really liked your time limit
Mm-hmm.
pointer, because that tends to be kind of the determining factor for being present, and I'm definitely going to use that, so thank you.
Good. We all should. All right.
And there's
That's
nothing
all I
wrong
have.
with boundaries.
They're good for us. They're so good. I think one of the number one things we can do, or one of the top things we can do to care for ourselves. Yeah.
Exactly. I had posted in the Zoom meeting and on the Facebook Live your last class with us.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. It helps kind of extend this topic as well and kind of honing in on it.
Right, right. Yep.
So, with your book, I also posted the link to your website. Um, is there any kind of key points that people can that you can describe the book?
Oh, sure. So the book, Love What Hurts, Healing Your Emotional Wounds and Following Your Intuition. So the point of this book, if you recognize that I was talking about your child part and your teenage part during today's presentation, that's what I expand on more in the book, of really learning how to befriend in all those wounded parts of us. And the easiest way to do that is through the body. And so that's the first half of the book, is learning how to befriend and acknowledge and also learn from those wounded parts of us. And then the second half of the book is really talking about, like, well, when we feel a lot more present in our lives and we've unpacked our trauma and it feels relatively resolved or neutralized, then it's a lot easier to follow your intuition and to do things in your life that align with your heart, that align with your soul. Really hard to do that if you haven't addressed your emotional wounding first, because those emotional wounds, they block us from really living the life that's aligned with our soul. So that's what the book is about. It's only 138 pages, very doable.
Oh, I love that.
Thank
Because
you. Yeah.
there's a lot of things that you know, that's in our subconscious, and sometimes people get triggered and have no idea, and then they have to work through that, figure it out, and
Right.
there's especially in this society, I feel like the pandemic kind of helped us shift that uh, taboo about mental health, and we're able to honor mental health more because there were so many people that were going through a lot. We all were going
Right.
through.
Right. Yeah, we all together went through a global traumatic event. And so people are a lot more empathetic with one another, as you know, as people are trying to heal. They were, you know, trying to heal during the lockdown because they had the time to. But that journey is still going on, even now. And trauma and therapy are no longer, well, at least around here, it's not, a stigma. I know in other parts of the world, it's still, frowned upon. But yeah, we got, the pandemic did start that ball rolling. And so people are more comfortable talking about it.
And it's things that need to be talked about and worked through so we can
Right,
grow.
right, right. And just feel joy, you
Yes,
know,
that's
like
what life's all
experience that.
about. Like
Yes, yes,
let's enjoy life while we're
yes.
here.
Right. Yes, we deserve it. We do.
We do.
So,
Well, thank you so much, Lisha. You are
yeah.
fabulous. Every time I get to work with you is just such a pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to 2024.
hmm Yes. Yes. Thank you, Elizabeth, again for having me. And thank you for being such a lovely co-host.
Shucks, thank you. Well, goodbye, everyone watching Facebook Live, and tune in for more wonderful classes.
Mhm. Happy holidays.
Yes, happy holidays and use this survival guide.